To become a black cab driver in London is really, really difficult. You have to take specialized tests. It's called the knowledge, where you have to be able to chart through your head from point A to point B. So it's a really hard thing to do. With Uber, you're just using the Uber app and it tells you how to get there. So they're particularly peeved at the fact that Uber's been able to take over their market share. The other thing too, Uber, there's about 40,000 Uber drivers in London. So those are a lot of people that you could, make a living off of this. And that, I think, is a big part of the constituency that whether the mayor or the commission, they're probably, are having to consider, but we'll hear from, certainly.
40,000 drivers who could be out of work, 3.5 million riders who could be really upset, Vivek. And it sounds like the taxi drivers are just really upset that GPS was invented, so they don't have to now memorize where every single street is in London like they used to.
It's a really dumb move. You don't even have Lyft over there. So for Londoners, this is a disaster that they're now going back into the dark ages. And I don't know why the mayor has done such a stupid thing. This is not going to help him. It makes him look like a Luddite, basically, moving backwards in terms of innovation and technology. So this is a lose-lose scenario. Yes, Uber has to clean up its act. It's been a sick company. However, the new CEO is likely to fix all of that. And the best thing would have been to fine Uber, give them some regulations, and then move on. This doesn't make sense.
Vivek, I agree with many of your points except for the dark ages. I mean, really, you're going back to like 4 years ago. I mean, Londoners successfully got around for 100 years. And I also think, listen, if you're the London government and maybe your revenues on the subway, the tube, have been falling as well, then you start to worry about that. Don't you think, to Ed's point, there are more political underpinnings here than just being Luddites?
But you can't turn back the clock anymore. We're used to technology. You have 3 million people now who are used to Uber over there. Can you imagine now having to go to a new city and not being able to dial up a cab on your phone? I mean, you'll be lost when you go to London, and you probably will avoid London because of that. So they're going to lose many times over because of this.
Well, what is the impact, Ed, do you think, in terms of valuation?
Well,
there's so many times where we said, oh, this should be a hit to valuation. This should be a hit to valuation. Losing a license in one of the biggest cities in Europe should be potentially a hit to valuation.
Europe is one of the few regions where Uber is actually profitable. And that's the other thing we should think about, because the business still has to be sorted out for Uber. And I think, it's one of those things where they really require a network effect and less competition. London is certainly one of those places. So that could take a hit. At the same time, the reason why investors are still really big on Uber, why Masa wants to put in billions of dollars into Uber, there's a new era of incumbents on the internet, right? Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, these companies exist already, right? Uber is sort of that last kind of piece of that puzzle in terms of the big infrastructure, and that's why they want a piece of it now in terms of these big high growth companies. And I think this might take a hit certainly, but investors are still really interested.
Vivek, you said good things about the CEO. You think he's going to be able to fix this?
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to improve things a lot. I mean, if Travis doesn't get him fired or interfere too much, the company could be back on track.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.